I cannot believe what I've just witnessed in the Champions League final. They've finally done it. Paris Saint-Germain, félicitations, because they have won the Champions League final 5-0 against Inter Milan, which is history. It's the biggest margin. The biggest margin prior was 4-0 or 4-goal difference, which they were going to be joint record holders, but no, they smashed that. They won 5-0 in a Champions League final, and it should have been more, guys. We didn't know how this would go. Ceferin looked miserable in the stands because, let's be real, this was a mockery of his Champions League final, and they've finally done it. They've reached the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Paris Saint-Germain, they've done it. And I feel like I've been sports washed. The cynical Qatari project of PSG, purchased in 2011, a relatively embryonic club. I think they were formed in 1970. And of course, pumped full of money, they've become a lifestyle brand, and anything but a traditional football club, apart from maybe, well, I say the Ultras, but that's more a European thing. And of course, Qatar, no history of footballing culture themselves, unlike Saudi, which do. We're not going to get into the geopolitical ramifications of their ownership, or the fact how apparently I've been sports washed because I love this team, because they are the perfect football team. They are playing football how it should be played in the modern game. Not because you're just young players, but tenacity, intelligence, insanely high-octane pressing, moving like a team, fighting for each other, but expressing themselves, knocking it about, flicks and tricks and wonder goals. The front four, including Bocolo, comes on, and then Vitinha in midfield, the defenders, the freaking fullbacks, the superstar flying fullbacks of Nuno Mendes and Hakimi, who of course scored the opener. Wow. And Inter, a lot of people said Inter would win. The oldest team in the Champions League this season, Inter, but their know-how, the canniness, the never say die. And, we're going to talk about everything that happened in this game and a little bit of the respective teams, because Inter were on for a treble, and I believe they won nothing. Did they win? Did they lose? I mean, obviously they've lost the final here. They went to the final day in the league and lost out to like a point to Napoli. And didn't they lose the cup final as well? I think they were on for a treble and they've won nothing, but on the cusp. Forgive me if they won the Coppa Italia. I have a feeling they didn't. I have a feeling they've literally lost everything right at the very cusp of getting a trophy each time. Welcome back to Football, Yannick. There is daily content here, of course, uploading every single day, reacting to big football matches, big football stories, transfer stories. There's been amazing support here lately, so thank you for hanging out with me, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing, and coming along for the ride. We're on road to 20,000 subs, which is amazing. Look, we're gonna look at some stats and stuff here, but look, just context. PSG have never won the European Cup. Only Marseille is the only French team to have won it. And they're pretty much the only representation of France. PSG, this has been the holy grail for them. They've kind of made a mockery out of the French league for a long, long time. They've always won it, apart from the odd, Monaco or Lille here or there. They've got a huge monopoly. It's been like, Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. But they've always come short. I don't need to tell you the story. They tried everything. They had the Galactico eras, which started with the likes of, probably in the earlier days, Cavani, Zlatan and Cavani and Demman. And of course, they went super high octane, Super Saiyan in that model. And they had Neymar, Mbappe, and Lionel Messi up top. They had like Ramos at the back and stuff, and it didn't work either. And then they brought in the true superstar, Luis Enrique, who made these guys a team. I'm going to show you some stats in the lineup in just a moment. But one guy, talking about the Galactico era, or the failed French Galactico era, one person who's fuming, Kylian Mbappe. That holy grail of the Champions League he's been chasing. The first season that man leaves. And look, he's amazing. He scored loads of goals for Real Madrid, but is he Was he the problem? Because Luis Enrique's Paris Saint-Germain is all about that selfless, hard-working, incredible teamwork and superstars in the midfield. I'm going to talk about Désiré Doué. I'm going to talk about Kvaradona. I'm going to talk about Dembele. Let's look at this then, shall we? So, it should have been more. Look at the attacking momentum. 5 goals here, including a lovely story of Mayulu, which is apparently an 18-year-old academy prospect coming on. No longer a prospect. You just scored in the Champions League final off the bench. Unsurprisingly, we saw the free 5-2 from Inzaghi's Internazionale. Both Thuram and Lautaro Martinez fit to play. Quality team. It's the guys. It's the old boys. The oldest team in the Champions League that never say die, that eliminated Barcelona. And guys, before this game, Inter had only been behind in the entire Champions League campaign for 16 minutes. Let me just check that. Yeah, I think they were. So from being like this really like canny, robust, old senior know-how team, they just got slapped over and over and over, and it should have been more. Of course, Luis Enrique's incredibly young, really exciting team. Donnarumma 4-3-3. Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, amazing flying wingbacks. You got the amazing centre-back partnership of the oldest, most senior, and I guess leader, the captain Marquinhos, flanking Pacho, who's been amazing actually. Marquinhos used to play next to Thiago Silva. Midfield's amazing. In this game in particular, Vitinha was demonstrating how majestic he is, and what can we say about the front three? Let's start off with Kvaratskhelia, who did get his goal in the end, and it was a good goal. Kvaratskhelia has won the quadruple, so the French treble and the Champions League, and he's won the Scudetto with Napoli because he left in January. He played loads of games for them before the January transfer window, so he's won the Italian League, he's won the Scudetto, he will get a medal as well as winning the quadruple with PSG. Just absolutely sensational. Désiré Doué, which literally means desired, gifted. And this teenager who won player of the match here on Who Scored, what did he get? 2 goals and an assist. Is amazing. I don't know what to tell you. He couldn't get into the team for a while because it was Bradley Bacola. And then obviously Doué, who was playing for the France under-21s, who's just ripped up the script in a Champions League final. I'm still trying to recover. 5-0! 5 with no reply, and it should have been more. Ousmane Dembele. We're going to look at the stats in a moment, but I just quickly wanted to talk about some players. Ousmane Dembele, for me, is Ballon d'Or. At risk of sounding like Rio Ferdinand, Ballon d'Or, as he just shouts sometimes. By the way, awful pundit. No, not pundit. That's a bit unfair. Or broadcaster. Awful commentator. Yeah, obviously, guys, what I've got to say is that the big picture is this is good for football. No, in the small picture, this is good for football because it's a great football team to watch. But the big picture, if you actually think about what you're saying, it's bad for football. We won't get into that. But he's just so... He's a knobber, isn't he? He does my head in. Dembele. Not only has he scored loads of goals in 2025, and in this game, he's got 2 assists. Selfless. He's one of the senior leaders. And he's only 27. He is absolutely incredible, Ousmane Dembele, in this role. Some of the touches, some of the pressing... The pressing from Ousmane, he leads the press, and it's incredible. The hard working, the tenacity, the intelligence, the interpretation of space, when to make runs, when knowing who's around him, the lucidity of his teammates around him, the combinational play, just the deftness, the assists, and of course he scored loads of goals. And he's won the quad, and France could win the Nations League. He's just the runaway favourite for Ballon d'Or. I know people thought Rafinha and Lamine Yamal and yada yada yada. For me, it's Ousmane. It has to be because he's not. I know Lamine's got a bunch of assists and a few goals, and some of them are worldies. But he is like this right winger, this clutch right winger. Ousmane is everything in that attack. He's absolutely everything, and for me, that's why That's why. So listen, I mean, obviously, Doué assisted Hakimi in the 12th minute, and then Doué scored with assist of Dembele, 2-0 up in the first half. Ooh, can Inter turn it around? No, they bloody can't, because Doué's at it again. Kvaratskhelia gets his goal, another assist for Ousmane Dembele, and Barcola, who came on, who whiffed a couple of chances himself, sets up the youngster to score the 5th. Let's look at the stats. So, 8 big chances. To be fair, they only generated 3.23 XG and they scored 5 goals, so they were just elite at finishing. But 8 big chances, 23 shots. There were instances where they screwed it up, and they screwed up because it should have been a higher XG value move. But yeah, this guy, I'm not joking when I say this could have been 7-0. You know, this could have been 7-0 to PSG in a Champions League final. And they finally did it. They got the big ears, and I tell you what, it's not like, you know, if Inter did it, they're quite old and senior, or, you know, there's other examples. This team is just getting cooking, and they've got the biggest asset, Luis Enrique, who I actually think he's still a little bit underappreciated for, you know, you want to treble at Barca, but he followed Guardiola, he had the MSN attack, but I think he's a little bit underappreciated, and maybe because of, you know, things with Spain, of course, a really tragic story of him losing his little girl, which of course would screw up your life, let alone your work and stuff. But I do think he's underappreciated, man. Just what he's done to that PSG team, those like fancy Dan Galacticos that no one would press and run and this, that, and the other. And even like Ousmane was seen as a little bit of like a sort of attitude player, and now he's like the example, bro. You know, like what he's made with this team is nothing short of absolutely sensational, and he deserves an immense amount of credit. Guys, amazing history making, and yeah, consider me freaking sports washed for now. let me know what you think. Please do leave your thoughts down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. I do hope to see you back here soon. Take care. Peace.